It always lives with the soft, rugged blues on natural meters as the hydrogen meters in the yellow color. Basically, body fluid also change to yellow color. Bilirubin is a byproduct generated when red blood cells break down. It is then transferred to bilirubin is formed. Bilirubin is formed when red blood cells produce when the red blood cells break down. Red blood cells are transported to liver. Yeah, contains and implicit is respect to the water. 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 That is the condition in the skin white of the skin and the mucous membrane turns yellow because of the high level of bilirubin. Densely body fluid may also change color to yellow color. Bilirubin is a byproduct generated when bilirubin is a byproduct generated when red blood cells break down. Bilirubin is generated when red blood cells generated. कर तो रहे बात बहुत बताइए थैंक यू फॉर मेकिंग दिस वीडियो स्पेशल हाय संस्कार चतुर्वेदी कल से सुबह स्ट्रीम हो सकता है बिकॉज ऑफ नाइट ड्यूटी आई नॉट अटेंड स्टडी सेशन कंप्लीटली विद यू टाइम टू लाइव चैट पे आंसर कर दीजिएगा ये कितने साल की और नहीं आ रहा, अब आ रहा होगा, पूछिए। फूड प्राइस लो लो। हाँ जी, लो लो। कैसी को लेना? European is about hydrogenated and red blood cells breakdown. And red blood cells breakdown. It is then transported to the liver. So by swimming, it is then combined with the digestive called the bile, as usually it is discharged to the stool and urine, but it cannot be propelled through the liver. It is remain in the blood body. Milk. Usually it is discharged through the stool and urine, but if it cannot be propelled through the liver, it gets accumulated in the blood causing jaundice. It spreads through the contact with the contaminated soil or water, as well as contact with blood, urine, or other tissue of animals that have the disease. It is spread through contact with the contaminated soil or water, as well as contact with blood, urine, or the other tissue of the animal that has the disease. As well as contact with blood, urine, or other tissues of animals that have the disease. I said milk only, so sorry बोले कि milk पी रहे, खा रहे. Which of the following kind of consider the following kind of the organism: bacteria, fungi, or pesticide तीनों है. ठीक है. First, biopesticide are certain types of pesticide derived from such from such natural materials as animal, plants, yeah, bacteria, and certain minerals that control pests by non-toxic mechanism. The bacterium, fungi, viruses, are used as bacteria. Certain flowering plants are also used as biopesticides. Neem is the best example. Certain species of the following are a cultivator of fungi. Mm. The actual location or the place where an organism lives is called habitat और इकोसिस्टम में तो बोलने वाला है नीस नहीं बायो मेन habitat it is specific place or property where an organism lives and produce support number of the species and has a larger number of niches, that is example pond, deserts, forest, grassland, etc. Ecosystem can be defined as the sum total of the interaction between the biotic and the between the biotic and the abiotic component. It is defined as the sum total. Niche, it is a specific part of the habitat that is occupied by the. Thank you, Pranjal Singh. ड्राई ड्रिंक है, ड्राई मिल्क है, मिल्क ड्राई कैसे हो सकती है? हेलो अरेंद्र. Yes, I am a good girl. Exactly, no. I'm preparing for the BPSC exam. इसका अभी तक डेट नहीं निकला है, प्लस डेट हैज़ बीन पोस्टपोन्ड. It is a specific part of the habitat that is occupied by individual of the species and described its role in the community rhythm defined by salinity, temperature, etc. It is a specific part of the habitat that is occupied by individual of a species and described its role in the community rhythm. Yes, defined by salinity, plus water, and temperature, etc. This is a specific part of the habitat. The larger unit of the environment, which consists of major type of vegetation and its associated fauna in its specific climate zone. Which of the following is used in preparing of the natural mosquito repellent? That is the lemongrass. Lemongrass, cyboborne, citritis. It is found in the China and India account for the maximum amount of the lemongrass. The essential oil for the lemongrass is known as citronella oil. Is used as a mosquito repellent and is known for the last for around 2.5 hours. Who discovered bacteria? Discovered what? Bacteria are small size. They are prokaryote without nuclear membrane. Bacterial cells are made up of peptidoglycan, also known as murine. Bacterial cells are made of peptidoglycan. हो जाएगा इस बार आपका प्रैक्टिस बहुत अच्छी है. नो नज़र. थैंक यू सो मच. हेलो सिंटू. के आते हैं। टीवी में बज रही है। बंद हो गया बैकग्राउंड म्यूजिक, स्विच ऑफ द टीवी। Where? Hello Madhu. Bacteria are the small single-cell organism. They are prokaryote without nuclear membrane, that is the nuclear membrane. Bacterial cells are made up of protein, also called the murie. Plant and the fungal cells are made of cellulose and the chitin, respectively. Disease caused by bacteria: tuberculosis, anthrax, tetanus, cholera, meningitis, plague, or syphilis. What is vermiculture? What is vermiculture? The study of the raising worms. Vermiculture is the process of using chemical, that is antiseptic and that is infectant, either kill bacteria or growth of the organism. Is that your younger sibling or older? छोटा है भाई. Hello. साढ़े 10 बजे तक. Let's study now. Vermiculture is the process of using earthworm to decompose organic food waste into a nutrient-rich substance that is vermicompost, capable of giving vital nutrient and sustaining plant growth, that is the growth of the animals. Rodents क्या होता है? Rodent phenomena bears. The phenomena of hibernation can be observed in which of the following kind? Bats में, bears में, rodent में, sea में, सब में. Hibernation is where animals conserve energy to survive adverse cold weather conditions or the lack of the food. It involves physiological changes such as a drop in body temperature and slowed metabolism, breathing, and heartbeat. Animals that hibernate include bats, bear, rodents, squirrels, etc. I'm from Bihar. मैंने नहीं किया था, कोई मैं मॉडरेटर किया था, मैंने नहीं किया था. आई हैवंट टाइम आउटेड. क्या बोलते हैं इसको? टाइम आउटेड बोलते हैं. टाइम आउट यू ना. बायो. Congratulations Rahul Kumar. Not minute, bio, PYQs. And slowed metabolism, breathing, and the heartbeat and or institution is over and the antiseptic and bio and disinfectant either kill or prevent the growth of the microorganisms. Not true. Chlorine and hydrogen are used as dilute solution of boric acid and hydrogen peroxide are strong antiseptic. Harm the living tissues. That 0.2 solution of phenol is antiseptic while a % solution act as a disinfectant. सही है. बी लग रहा था कि dilute boric acid तो आँख में यूज होता है, can't be used as an antiseptic. ठीक है. Option B is wrong because regarding antiseptic and then this one because dilute solution of the boric and the hydrogen peroxide are weak antiseptic but not strong antiseptic. Boric acid in dilute solution is a weak antiseptic for the eyes. Chlorine and iron based compound are the most significant microbial agent used in the clinical premises and have been traditionally used for both antiseptic and disinfectant purposes. Have been traditionally used for both antiseptic and the disinfectant purposes. Chlorine and iron-based compound are the most significant microbial agent used in the clinical premises and have traditionally used for both antiseptic. Chlorine and iron-based compound. It is 2 to 3%. The replace water machine on a tincture of iodine and alcohol water machine on a tincture of iodine. It's applied to wounds that iodoform is also used as antiseptic for wounds. Antiseptic can harm the immune tissue, and due to this reason, these are not used for the skin. This antiseptic phenol is among some unique substances which can act as an antiseptic as well as the symptom of varying the concentration of 0.2% solution रहा था solution of phenol तो वो BPSC antiseptic और 1% solution रहा तो जो applied as a disinfectant. Chemotherapy क्या है? Chemotherapy is used of the heat for use of the chemical for therapeutic effect. ठीक है. That is chemotherapy uses natural reagent or the chemical reagent for the therapeutic effect. It is generally used to treat cancer. That is the use of the chemical for the therapeutic effect. That is, it prevents the multiplication and the division of the cancer cells. Other treatment for the cancer are radiation therapy uses beam of intense energy to kill cancer cells. Radiation therapy क्या था? Use intense energy to kill. Uses beams of intense energy to kill cancer cells. Radiation therapy most often uses X-rays. Radiation therapy इसमें X-rays यूज करते हैं जिसमें कि intense beam of light energy जो है kill. ठीक है. Immunotherapy that is used medication to rebuff the patient's own immune system to fight. और कीमोथेरेपी में क्या होता है? केमिकल यूज होता है. ठीक है. एंटीबायोटिक ड्रग क्विनीन है, सल्फागुनिलिन, एस्पिरिन है, क्लोरामाफेनिकोल है. ठीक है. क्योंकि समय का पेनिसिलिन, स्ट्रेप्टोमाइसिन, क्लोरामाइसिटिन. It is noted that aspirin is used as an antibiotic to reduce fever and analgesic to reduce pain both. Fever that is antibiotic or analgesic that is to reduce pain. Quinine is used to treat malaria. It was first from the cinchona tree. The most vital organ is the spleen in malaria, which is called the graveyard of birds and the blood bank of the body. This chloroquine is a synthetic drug that is used for the treatment of malaria. पहले cinchona tree का जो bark यूज होता था. ठीक है. और chloroquine यूज होता है graveyard. Most vital organ in the spleen is the spleen in malaria. ठीक है. Quinine is a natural anti-malarial compound. Extracted from the bark of the cinchona tree. Cinchona are native to the South America, especially found in Peru and Bolivia, and later cultivated in India. Quinine is the common drug for malaria that is obtained from a plant. Which part of the plant is this? That is the bark. An example of antibiotic medicine is antibiotic medicine that is the chloroquine or antibiotic medicine बोल रहा है ना, पेनिसिलिन है, क्लोरोक्विनोन नहीं है. निकोल है वो क्या था? क्लोराम्फेनिकोल. So the following is an analgesic. That is analgesic बोल रहा है ना. That is analgesic में होता है जैसे कि पेन रिड्यूस करना. पेनिसिलिन नहीं. नोवेलजीन है. ठीक है. मतलब नोवेलजीन सैलिसैलिड्स एसिटामिनोफेन एंड नोवेलजीन. Bithenol is generally used to the soap as an additive to function as an bit. Bithenol is generally added to the soap as an additive to function as a buffering, antiseptic, dryer, as an antiseptic. Bithenol. Do you know what bithenol? Mature human blood cells like mitochondria, immune glycolysis. आई डोंट नो किस टाइप का ग्लिच है, आ ही नहीं रहा है एक भी कमेंट, सॉरी। इधर से तो नहीं कर रहे हैं, बट आई विल ट्राई टू, नॉट एबल टू मैनेज माई टाइम। बाल का तो आई एम फ्रॉम बिहार। बायो ही पढ़ रहा था वैसे। यस एग्ज़ाम आ रहे हैं मेरे। बहुत सारे बाकी हैं, मेंस पूरा, नॉट एनडीआई। अभी तक डेट नहीं निकला है कब है एग्ज़ाम. आफ्टर 2 months most probably. Phenol is generally used alcohol also to Bithinol is generally added to the soap present additive to function as a antiseptic. Bithinol is generally also to specify its antiseptic property and reduce odor created by the bacterial community. It is an anthelmintic drug. It is an anthelmintic drug that is prescribed for the treatment of depression with the fistula hepatica and also used in multiple alternative drug to praziquantel, that is what used in the treatment of permanent cerebral paragonimiasis. Paragonimiasis is an instrument in food provide symptom blood cartridge. Glycerol smoothing के लिए and sodium resinate to give the foaming characteristic to the sodium resinate for the foaming part and glycerol for smoothing and bithinol for the antiseptic part. जिसमें कि treatment of fistula hepatica and the treatment of the pulmonary and the cerebral paragonimiasis. Sulfur make it anti-acne and sodium silicate make the super retain itself. सोडियम सिलिकेट से सेफ रहता है रिटेन, सल्फर से एक्ने एंटी एक्ने है, ग्लिसरॉल से स्मूथनिंग और सोडियम रोजिनेट से क्या था बराबर करते हैं. सोडियम रेजिनेट से सोप में क्या आएगा, ग्लिसरॉल से स्मूथनिंग आएगा, सोडियम सिलिकेट से सेप आएगा, सल्फर से एंटी एक्ने और सोडियम रेजिनेट से क्या होगा फॉर द फोमिंग पार्ट फोमिंग. So the following is used in the breathing of the bee, that is the yeast. Yeast used in making bread is a fungus. It is the frog, Rana tigrina, man, Homo sapiens, housefly, it is Musca domestica, mango, Mangifera indica, wheat, that is Triticum estivum, Haplobatrachus tigrinus, that is Rana tigrina, is also known as Haplobatrachus tigrinus. Which of the following can be used for the biological control of the mosquitoes? सबसे पहले DDT यूज होगी. नहीं DDT तो उसमें होता है फ्लाइज में. Gambus, Gambus, Albinis and the Poecilia reticulata are the two important levivorous species which have been extensively in the country for the mosquito living in urban areas. Both of these species through exotic but have the acclimatize very well to different types of the American population in the country and the army of the mosquitoes and physical population. The Ishihara test is related to the bond density. Bond density is related with color blindness. Ishihara test is famous for the percentage used to detect color blindness. It is used as a series of the color plate, that is the Ishihara plates, and the number of the plate depend inside dots of the different colors or pattern near the hidden dots inside the bond density is measured by the DEXA test scan. IQ intelligence is measured using IQ test like the Stanford Binet. ठीक है, इसी टेस्ट कलर ब्राइटनेस के लिए, बॉन्ड डेंसिटी के लिए करते हैं डेक्सा स्कैन, एंड आईक्यू के लिए करते हैं, इंटेलिजेंस कोशेंट के लिए करते हैं यूजिंग द आईक्यू टेस्ट लाइक द स्टैनफोर्ड बिनेट. पलट व्हाट डू यू मीन पलट? आपका पेपर लीक हो गया है. I haven't given the exam yet. ये कैसे होगा बताओ? Green revolution is related to the grey revolution in electricity, oasis, pure fertilizers. The grey revolution reproduction of the use of the chemical fertilizer play a key role in enhancing agriculture productivity, that is the particularly during and after the revolution. It has been boosting soil fertility temporarily because it also raised concern about soil health and sustainability due to the overuse. That is देखो सबसे पहला agriculture food grain especially wheat and rice. कौन सा एग्जाम है BPSC का? कितना बार पूछोगे तुम लोग यार? Increase crop production using HYB seeds, irrigation, fertilizers. Increase HYB hybrid seeds, irrigation, fertilizers. By revolution that milk and dairy products production that is led by the Varghese Kudian Operation Flood, जिसको कहा गया था. Blue revolution fisheries, increase in the fish and aquatic production. Yellow oil seed that is boosting production of the mustard, sunflower, etc. Grey revolution fertilizers, rising the chemical fertilizers use. Golden revolution horticulture and honey, that is the growth in the fruits, vegetables, flowers and beekeeping. Pink revolution, that is the पेपर टेस्ट कर दिया है, बीच में डेट इसलिए बढ़ाया था. I don't know the exact reason ऐसा क्यों हुआ है. Meat and poultry, that is especially focus on prawn and onion bread, that is the meat and tomato, that is production processing. Brown leather and cocoa, that is also related to the soil health in some contexts. Round revolution, that is potato production, promotion and increase of the potato cultivation. Silver, that is the egg and the poultry. Silver, egg and the poultry. Silent egg production. Black revolution, potato production, increase in the crude oil production. Rainbow revolution, that is integrated agriculture, combination of all the revolution for the holistic horticulture. Yes, horticulture. This can what is the basis of the most useful classification of the medication in the medicinal chemistry? Give molecular targets. Indication in the medical chemistry, molecular target, pharmaceuticals, drugs or the medicines are chemical of the low molecular mass, that is less than 100 लिखे हैं 500 U, that is this interact with the molecular target and produce a biological response, and the biological response with the therapeutic and useful. These chemicals are called medicine and used in the diagnosis, prevention and treatment of the disease. on the basis of the pharmacological effect. For example, analgesic have pain-killing effect, antiseptic is or the growth of the muscle. For example, analgesic have pain-killing effect, all histamines inhibit the action of the compound histamine which causes inflammation in the body. These are the various ways in which the action of the histamine can be blocked. In which the drugs classified in this way share common structure, feature, and often have similar pharmacological activity. The molecular target is the drug usually interact with biomolecules such as carbohydrate, lipids, protein, and the nucleic acid. Therefore, the target molecules of the drug target. Drug possessing some common structural feature may have the same mechanism of action or target. The classification based on the molecular target is the most useful classification for the medicinal chemists. After the modern biology in India, it is Pushpamitra Bhargav. Pushpamitra Bhargav. Magnesium. Am I right? Hello, Somendra. Hello, Somendra Pratap Singh. Green या white, mostly white. कलर डिपेंड करता है, रेड भी तो होता है. वो कॉपर कंपाउंड. ग्रीन होगा बेरियम की वजह से, ब्लू कॉपर की वजह से, सोडियम की वजह से येलो है, और फिर रेड की वजह से लिथियम के सोर्स की वजह से रेड. ये सब नहीं पूछता है. Yes, copper. मत पूछो, पढ़ो तुमको अपना। पढ़ाई कीजिए। Supreme Court in the Justice case 2000 led to the right to privacy is intrinsic to life and the person dependent Article 21 right to privacy and then Article 21 interlinked with other right that is support freedom of speech Article 19 and the religion that is Article 25. Individual autonomy that is yields person choice from the interference upon the state power prevent arbitrary surveillance require legality and proportionality. Supreme Court ruling that is Puttaswamy case that is 2017 affirmed privacy as a fundamental right. Reproductive autonomy safeguards the family planning decisions, DNA testing and the paternity. That is the Selvi versus State of Karnataka. It was held that the compulsory DNA testing violated privacy right unless sanctioned by law and justified by a larger public interest. Dipanvita Roy versus the Rono Broto Roy. Dipanvita Roy and the Rono Broto Roy. BPSC. That is the Dipanvita Roy versus the Rono Broto Roy. The court allowed DNA testing only with the woman's consent, safeguarding her dignity and privacy. In Selvi versus the State of Karnataka, it was held that the compulsory DNA testing violated privacy right unless sanctioned by law and justified by large public interest. Section 112, that is the Indian Evidence Act, presumes legitimacy, that is the DNA testing allowed only when essential. Gautam Kundu case, that is 1993, DNA test to be primarily used. DNA technology bill, that is 2019, regular DNA use balances privacy and legal needs. Constitutional safeguard DNA testing must respect privacy under Article 21. Article 21, ठीक है. उसके बाद consent requirement, that is informed consent mandatory before DNA test. Scope ये वाला क्लियर कर लेते हैं. Right to privacy and the legal dimension of the prenatal right to privacy and the legal dimension of prenatal DNA testing. The Supreme Court in the Justice case Puttaswamy case held that the right to privacy is intrinsic to life and it is intrinsic to life under Article 21. Right to privacy under Article 21 interlinked with others right, that is support freedom of speech, that is Article 20 Article 19 and Article 25, that is the freedom of religion. Individual autonomy shields personal choices for interference. That is the shield personal choices for interferences. That is the shield personal choices for interferences. Check on the state power, prevent arbitrary surveillance, requires legality and the proportionality. Arbitrary surveillance. Supreme Court ruling that the Puttaswamy case affirmed privacy as a fundamental right. Reproduction autonomy, that is the safeguard family planning decisions. DNA testing and the paternity. Section 112 Indian Evidence Act presumes legitimacy. DNA testing allowed only when essential. Gautam Kundu case, that is 1993. DNA test to be sparingly used. DNA technology bill 2019. Regular DNA use balances privacy and legal needs. Balances privacy and legal needs. Regular DNA use, that is unconstitutional. Safeguard DNA testing must respect Privacy under Article 19. Consent requirement. Informed consent mandatory for before during testing. Constitution during testing must respect privacy under Article 21. Informed consent mandatory before during test. That is the Supreme Court judgment in Selvi versus the state of Karnataka. बोला गया था कि it was held that the compulsory DNA testing violated privacy right unless sanctioned by law. That is Selvi versus state of Karnataka कहा था कि compulsory DNA testing violated the fundamental right, privacy right unless sanctioned by law and justified by larger public interest. Tiffany Roy versus Suburanto Rono Broto. Suburanto and Rono Broto. That is the Nipanvita Roy versus Rono Broto. Roy. The court allowed DNA testing only with the woman's consent, safeguarding her dignity and privacy. Scope in the light of the Supreme Court on the right to privacy. Scope of the fundamental. बहुत सारा स्कोप है, जैसे कि सबसे पहला डाटा प्रोटेक्शन एज अ राइट, लिमिट्स ऑन द स्टेट सर्विलेंस, सोशियो इकोनॉमिक राइट्स, जुडिशियल सेफगार्ड्स एक्सप्लेन आर्टिकल 21. ठीक है. फिर की कंसर्न दैट इज स्टेट सर्विलेंस, प्राइवेट सेक्टर कंपाइलेंस, जुडिशियरी कंसिस्टेंसी एंड द पब्लिक अवेयरनेस. क्या होना चाहिए इसमें. ठीक है. दैट इज सबसे पहले क्या है, एक्सपेंडिंग स्कोप ऑफ द फंडामेंटल राइट, डाटा प्रोटेक्शन एज अ राइट, बेसिक basis for the privacy laws, that is the 2023 का डिजिटल पर्सनल डाटा प्रोटेक्शन है, डिजिटल पर्सनल डाटा प्रोटेक्शन है 2023 का है. लिमिट्स ऑन द स्टेट सर्वेलेंस, दैट इज ड्यू प्रोसेस मैंडेटरी अनुराधा वसीम केस, ड्यू प्रोसेस मैंडेटरी अनुराधा वसीम केस 2020 ऑन द इंटरनेट फ्रीडम. ठीक है. लिमिट्स ऑन द स्टेट सर्वेलेंस. ठीक है. सोशियो इकोनॉमिक राइट, दैट इज द प्राइवेसी इंश्योर डिग्निटी इन हेल्थ एजुकेशन वेलफेयर. MTP environment in safe abortions, judicial safeguard. Law must meet necessity, legitimacy, proportionality, impact on the Transgender Person Act 2019 expanded article, privacy linked to human dignity, that is common cause cases, that is 2018 on the passive euthanasia, जिसमें कि अरुण का केस था, अरुण सोनरे ऐसे कुछ करना. फिर स्टेट सर्वेलेंस, बैलेंसिंग नेशनल सिक्योरिटी विद इंडिविजुअल प्राइवेसी रिमेन कॉन्टेंटियस. पेगासस स्पाईवेयर कंट्रोवर्सी, पेगासस प्राइवेट सेक्टर कंपाइलेंस, रिस्क ऑफ द डाटा मिसयूज एंड प्रोफाइलिंग बाय टेक चाइल्डरी व्हाट्सएप, प्राइवेट सेक्टर कंपाइलेंस, जुडिशियल कंसिस्टेंसी, लैक ऑफ द uniform application of the privacy principle across cases, that is variation in ruling on the Aadhaar used across sectors. Public awareness, low digital literacy campers, demand for the privacy safeguard. Users often consent to data term without understanding implications. Scope of the fundamental right in the light of the Supreme Court on right to privacy, that is expanding scope of fundamental right. Data protection as a right, that is the basis for the privacy laws, that is जैसे कि data and the protection, data personal data, digital personal data protection 2023, data protection as a right, digital data protection, digital personal data protection 2023 में आया था law, data protection as a right, that is basis for the privacy laws. Limits on the state surveillance, due process mandatory. Example, Anuradha Vasin case 2020 on internet freedom, Anuradha Vasin case on the internet freedom, Anuradha Vasin case on the internet freedom, Anuradha Vasin case socio-economic rights, that is the privacy ensure dignity in health education welfare. MTP amendment 2021 enabling safe abortion, judicial safeguard. Law must meet necessity, legitimacy, that is proportionality, that is impact on the Transgender Person Act 2019. फिर expanded article 21, that is privacy linked to human dignity. Expanded article 21, privacy linked to human dignity, that is the Example, common cause cases on the passive euthanasia. Distance surveillance and balancing national security with individual privacy remains contentious because of this private controversy. Private sector compliance risk of the data misuse and profiling by tech giant, that is WhatsApp freedom, that is Facebook data sharing, judicial consistency, lack of the uniform application of the privacy principle across cases, that is the recent ruling on the third use public sectors, public awareness, low digital literacy hampers demand for the privacy safeguards. सो हो जाएंगे थोड़ी देर में. User often consent to data terms without understanding implication. The Bilkis Bano case highlights the clash between right to liberty and the rule of the law. Bilkis Bano का right to liberty and the rule of the law. That is, the Supreme Court emphasized that the liberty cannot be exercised in a way that undermines justice and set aside the remission of the convicts and following the principle that no one is above law. The case serves as a reminder that individual right must be balanced with constitutional morality and due process. Bilkis Bano case highlighted the clash between the right to liberty and the rule of the law. The Supreme Court emphasized that the liberty cannot be exercised in a way that undermines justice and set aside the remission of the convicts, upholding the principle that no one is above the law. The case serves as a reminder that individual right must be balanced with constitutional morality and the due process. The Bilkis Bano case highlighted the clash between the right to liberty and the right to liberty and the rule of the law. That is, the Bilkis Bano case emphasized a clash between the right to liberty and the rule of the law. The Supreme Court emphasized that liberty cannot be exercised in a way that undermines justice and set aside the remission of the convicts, holding the principle that no one is above law. The case serves as a reminder that individual right must be balanced with constitutional morality and due process. यदि अब हमको पढ़ने में मन क्यों नहीं लगता है, मन लगाना पड़ेगा. You have to. Article 51A, that the president must educate children. Parents must educate children. Article 19, provision protect children from exploitation. 39 ENF. Education below 64 years. Article 21, that is the free education 16 to 40 years. Free education. Article 21A, education below 65 years. Article 51A, parent must educate children. Or Article 19E, protect children from exploitation. ठीक है. एजुकेशन प्रोविजन फॉर चिल्ड्रन. आर्टिकल 45 बोलता है कि बिलो 6 एजुकेशन बिलो 6 ईयर्स. फिर 21 बोलता है 6 से लेके 14 तक फ्री एजुकेशन. आर्टिकल 39 ई और एफ का बोलता है कि प्रोटेक्ट चिल्ड्रन फ्रॉम एक्सप्लॉयटेशन. और 51 के बोलता है एजुकेट पेरेंट्स शुड एजुकेट चिल्ड्रन, शुड नहीं मस्ट. Article 21A, right to education. Education is a fundamental building block for the individual growth and the societal development. Recognizing this importance, the Indian Constitution was amended in 2002. 86 amendment to include Article 21A as part of the fundamental right. Article 21 mandates the state to provide free and compulsory education to all children aged 6 to 14 years, making education a justiciable fundamental right implemented through legislation like the RTE Act. right to मेरा प्लेरियम से निकल गया था बट मैथ्स में नहीं हुआ. Why so? कौन सा BPSC वाला? फिर से तो हो जाएगा. Don't you worry about all this thing. You go and sleep, Somendra. I have to complete this chapter anyhow. ठीक है. It also promote access and the quality education significantly improving enrollment rates in India. The NEP extend focus towards early education, care and education, that is 3 to 18 years. 13 से लेकर 18 साल, understanding the continuum of the school education. Beautiful Lord. नो यूपीएससी, अच्छा अभी तक तो एग्ज़ाम भी नहीं हुआ है, तो कौन सा यूपीएससी प्रीलिम्स में निकल गया था. Article 21A, right to education. Education is a fundamental right building for individual growth and societal development. Recognizes its importance. The Indian Constitution has amended Article 86 Constitution 2002, that is the include Article 21A as a part of the fundamental right. Article Azerbaijan, अच्छा 2025 वाला. As part of the fundamental Article 21, it mandates the state to provide free and the compulsory education to all children aged 6 to 14 years, making education a justiciable right, fundamental right implemented through the legislation like the Right to Education Act 2009. It also promotes access and quality education, significantly improving enrollment rates in the India. Significant the NEP 2020 extend focus towards early childhood care and education 13 to 18, extending the continuum of the school education. तो ख़त्म रहने का नाम ही नहीं ले रहा यार माथा को. प्रोटेक्शन अगेंस्ट अरेस्ट एंड डिटेंशन. प्रोटेक्शन अगेंस्ट अरेस्ट साल से प्रिपरेशन कर रही हो, अब जाके हमको लगता है 1.5 साल हो गया होगा. 1 साल 2025 का और अभी 2024 के लास्ट से स्टार्ट किए थे सीरियसली. मतलब Protection against the arrest and detention is against Article 22 of the Indian Constitution is a crucial safeguard against arbitrary arrest and detention, provision, conviction, provision, prevention, protection against arrest and detention, incident, protection of the arrest and detention, incident. It is the protection against arrest and detention, incident cases, protection against arrest and detention, incident cases. उसमें the provision of conviction of offences. Provision against Article 22 of the Indian Constitution is a crucial safeguard against arbitrary arrest and detention. It guarantees certain rights to any person who is arrested, protecting them from misuse of the power by the authority. Ordinary law conditions protecting from uninformed detention. No person can be arrested and apprehended in custody without being informed promptly about the reason for the arrest. Right to legal counsel. That is the arrested person has the fundamental right to consult and be defendable by a lawyer of their choice. Ministerial, that is protection. The arrested individual must be produced before a magistrate within 24 hours of their arrest, excluding travel time. Right to be released after 24 hours unless authorized by a magistrate. Please continue the protection against arbitrary detention. Prevention detention conditions. Detention of a person cannot access 3 months without an advisory board report. Prevent prolonged detention without adequate justification. Prevention of a person cannot exceed 3 months without advisory board. Ground of detention should be communicated to the TNA. ठीक है. Article 22. Protection against the arrest and detention in certain cases. Article 22 of the Indian Constitution is a crucial safeguard against arbitrary detention and that arrest and detention. It guarantees certain right to any person who is arrested, protecting them from misuse of power by the authorities. Ordinary law condition, that is protection from the uninformed detention. A person can be arrested and held in custody without being informed promptly about the reason for the arrest. Right to legal counsel. The arrested person has the fundamental right to consult and be defended by a lawyer of their choice. Ministerial protection. The protected The arrested individual must be produced before a magistrate within 24 hours of their arrest, excluding travel time. Right to be released after 24 hours, authorized by a magistrate. This continues the protection against arbitrary detention. Right to be released after 24 hours unless authorized by the prevention detention condition. Detention of a person cannot exceed 3 months without any advisory board report. Detention without adequate justification. Ground of detention should be communicated to the detainee. That is, ensure transparency and give the detained person an opportunity to dispute the ground of their detention. अब तो तुमसे भी बैठना नहीं जा रहा है अब तो 12th क्लास में अब जा रहे हैं बस नहीं हो पाएगा आज 13-24 कर लेते हैं राइट टू फ्रीडम कट कर लेंगे बहुत इजी है लेकिन क्या कर सकते हैं थरली बस रीड करना है कल कर लेंगे ओके रहने दो रिचा इसको रहने दो मार्शल लॉ इसको रहने दो Prevention detention in September 2024 Supreme Court reformed that under Article 22 Clause 5 a detainee must be provided with not just the ground of detention but also all documents relied upon. Any delay or denial in furnishing the sample the detainee's constitutional right to make an effective representation. This reassertion reflects the judiciary emphasis on procedural fairness and checks against arbitrary detention, reinforcing that even in the preventive detention, constitutional safeguard must not be diluted. Article 22 protection applies to all persons, not just the citizens. That is, Karnataka High Court confirmed that Article 22 safeguard informing ground of arrest extend to foreign nationals within India, and period who can vitiate custody or remand. What does Bahamas देखो पहले है कि the ground of detention but also all document detail relied upon. Foreign nationals within India and failure to do so can vitiate custody remands. Article 23 provision of the traffics in human being and forced labor. for the employment of the children. बचपन बचाओ आंदोलन वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया 2011 eradication from the child labor and directed rescue rehabilitation compulsory education. People's Union for Democratic Republic held at the January. People's Union for Democratic Right वर्सेस 1982 में आया था 1982 में आया था और MC मेहता वर्सेस स्टेट ऑफ तमिलनाडु prohibited employment of the children in गुड नाइट अब हम भी जा रहे हैं बस बहुत सारी चीज़ें करनी पड़ेगी सो जाइए, अब हमारे बनने वाला है, बस जा रहे हैं। Good night, sleep tight, bye bye, good night. Okay, good. Go board. Good night now. I'm going to sleep now. Bye bye. Good night. जाने सोने के लिए कन्हैया. Bye bye. कल थोड़ा पहले आने की कोशिश करेंगे लाइट, जैसे 12 बजे में भी. देखते हैं हो पाता कि नहीं. अदरवाइज 1 ठीक है. बाय.